Welcome to Let Me Know How It Is, a pop culture podcast about TV, movies, comics, and all things geek. We're talking shows within shows today. I'm Zach Slater.
I'm Frank Melman.
This is Tommy Smithereens.
And I'm Clifton.
So I say this every week. Our conversation is exactly what it sounds like. We're talking about like TV shows within other TV shows, but we're not limiting it to that. It just sounded better. And we could put it into in a box neatly that way. But, you know, I mean, we'll do like comics within shows or movies or whatever. You know, just media within media, I guess, is really truly what it is we're talking about. So, Frank, this was your idea, though. So what made you come up with it?
Basically, I've always liked the idea of, and sometimes it's handled better and sometimes it's not. The idea of a show within a show, or a show within a movie, or a movie within a movie, or a comic within a movie. I think sometimes they get it really, they do a really good job. And I memean, the nebulous, getting it done right. But as a concept, I always think it's fun to play with. So that was basically it. I just, that was all it was for me, was just like, oh yeah, there's more of them, you know. And when I started really digging into it, I'm like, well, there's a lot more than I thought. So I thought that we could have a good discussion about some of our favorite ones. Okay. Well, start us off. Why don't you go ahead? Sure. I had one of my favorite ones, or one of the ones that I enjoyed quite a bit was, I always enjoyed Pawnee Today from Parks and Recreation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which, if you're unfamiliar with Pawnee Today, it was hosted by Joan Calamezzo, played by what's her name?
Mo Collins.
Mo Collins. She's fantastic. It's basically like if you've ever lived in a semi-small town, or even like if your local, your local NBC or ABC, whatever your local affiliate is, they have some version of like it's not a get up in the morning show. It's more like a hey noon, or how's it going, lunchtime, whatever, for wherever you live. And this is what this show is within Parks and Recreation. And Mo Collins is just great because her character is a mess. Like she's either drunk or high or both, or and she's always just given the business to Leslie Knope, and it's great. I mean, it's one of those things where like everyone knows what a mess she is, but at the same time, she has the air about her that she's far better than Leslie Knope in every indication, or any moment, and it's just great to watch their interactions, because full well Leslie's going to be something's going to go bad for her. So I'm a huge fan of Pawnee Today. I know Tommy's familiar with it.
Oh yeah, that and what's up with Purd? Purd Happy?
Yes, that's a good one too. Yeah, that almost made me. I love Purd, but at the same time, you heard with Purd. That's what it is.
You heard with Purd. That's what it is. Yes, yeah.
Yeah. That one's also Parks and Rec.
Yeah, also Parks and Rec. Yeah, it's another a show within the show, or because it's a show, right? It's his talk show.
Oh yeah.
But hers is the one that I like the most, because when I in the small town that I lived in, Texas, they had a like a good, I think it was like good. They had the Beatles song "Good Day Sunshine." It was their theme, and it was always like, "Hey, we're going to talk to so and so from the local zoo," and but the person obviously was not drunk or high while they were doing their interview. So not that I could tell,
that you know of,
not that I know of. So. They may very well have been, but yeah, I highly recommend Parks and Rec now that I've seen it all. But that particular show for me is fantastic.
Yeah,
you gonna co-sign on this stuff, Tommy?
Oh no, 100% so. I love how that show. They brought in other characters that were small time celebrities, or what's Sweetum's CEOs, things of that nature.
Oh, Paul Rudd.
Yeah. yeah. Political candidates would go on there and talk their positions, or heck, even former porn stars would be on that show. Yeah, it was just insane.
One of the best ones is one with Andy Samberg.
Yes, where she hits on him.
Yeah, he's the pest control guy for the county, or for the city.
Yes.
Yeah, just it's one of my favorite ones with her in that episode. Samberg's just great. So.
Oh, the one I like the most is the Gotcha TV, where she's like,
right.
That's all she does.
Yes.
It's where she surprised you with information that you didn't know about to blindside you. Yeah, no, that's a great example.
Thank you. Who else got one?
I got one, and then it's from a show that I didn't particularly care for too much.
Oh, okay.
But I know one of the people on here loved that show.
Oh yeah.
and
Okay.
it was Tool Time on Home Improvement.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was half the show was dedicated to what he'd do on Tool Time,
Right.
and then how he would deal with it, and what he do with Al.
Mhm.
But basically, Tool Time was just an instructional show on Home Improvement in which it showed how adept or terrible he is with Home Improvement,
Right.
and it would extend it to his home life. Tool Time.
Yeah.
I always thought it was a way for Tim Allen to get applause on a show that he wouldn't get applause on because he was used to being a stand-up, so therefore having a live audience. I mean, I don't know, was that show shot before a live audience or not, or was it fake applause? Was it? Okay.
Yeah. When they cut away to the audience for the Tool Time segments of the show that they do, though, that's the actual studio audience.
Okay. Good. I wasn't sure it was like because I thought they looked like the Dog Pound from Arsenio Hall, where like they were separate. like they were separate, and then the studio audience was like behind the cameras. But no, that was the actual audience.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
I forget. It's been a while. So.
Yeah. No, that's a good one. Not on my list. Not on my list. But yeah, that's a fun one.
Wow. That was not on your list?
No, not on my list at all.
That's crazy.
Okay.
No, it's funny because it's like because I forget that's an interesting one though because it's like the star of the show is also the star of the show within the show.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I think so. I think that's why it didn't register to me because it's like I just think of it as like part of the episode. But no, I mean it's like that's the clip that's supposed to be what the audience is watching on TV in that universe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's so fleshed out, right? To the point that you've already pushed it in your head as something that was almost a show in itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now you're thinking of Danny Tanner on Good Morning San Francisco.
That was my next. Yeah, that was my next example. Yes.
Wake up, San Francisco.
Wake up, San Francisco.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was another one. Yeah, that was also on my list.
Yeah. Really, that was on your list too, because that's another one that I missed. But it's also but now that you brought it up, Full House has a bunch.
Yes, they do.
Because there was a point,
Yes,
there was a moment where I started realizing I was like, oh wow, like the entire household is in show business.
Yes.
Right? Like, and then so it was like Wake Up San Francisco was the thing, but then it was like
what else?
Joey was Ranger Joe on the Ranger Joe show that he did.
Right, with the woodchuck.
Right. Then he and Jesse were the Rush Hour Renegades when they had their radio show.
Oh boy.
Yes.
Like afternoon drive radio show. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Dang, you guys are picking up all the ones I missed. Good job.
There's so much more than you thought.
Yeah.
There's so much more. Yeah. But that was just one that had like what, 3 incarnations or 3 different examples of it?
At least 3. I'm off the top of my head. There may have been more. There very well may have been more in that show. But yeah.
Yeah. But that was my push. Yeah. I remember Tool Time.
But no, Tool Time's a really good one though, I think. Because it was it was the solution of problems at times, was the cause of problems at times. It was, an escape and an avenue for guest stars and stuff like that to appear on the show that, like George Foreman or like the Blue Angels or whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I liked it because it made it tangible. It didn't make it like when sitcoms brought like celebrities in the past, it'd be weird. Like what they did with on Extras.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah, I forget when they brought him on from I remember the episode so distinctly, but I forget the example that they used.
What's his name from Coldplay?
Yes, where it's like he's on the show. That'd be mental.
Chris Martin on
Chris Martin. Yes.
When the Whistle Blows, I think was the name of the sitcom, the fake sitcom in Extras.
Yes.
That's a great one, Tommy, that I didn't think of that I should have gotten was that one so good.
Yes, you should have.
Wow, that one's so good. I love that one so much too.
Yes.
Oh, it's one of my favorite Ricky Gervais bits is that whole when he gets that sitcom. And he's famous, and he hates it. Yeah, because
he hates it. Yeah,
it's everything he hates about that aspect of the show of like being famous and being famous for that. So, but yeah, it's mental.
It's mental. Yeah,
the Chris Martin from Coldplay is there
at a warehouse in Wiggum.
Yes, thank you, Clifton. You're right.
Yeah, playing the grand piano. for some reason.
Yeah.
Right.
For some reason.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of which, because there's a lot of different ways we can go from the stuff that we brought up. Are there any more sitcoms within sitcoms
Oh, definitely.
I'm sure there
we can
is.
think of?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Let me get one.
Good.
Yeah.
Psycho Dad. Married with Children.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that bit where
Yeah.
where Al just watches that. You see how crazy that can get.
Mhm.
Even at a lead-in song.
Mhm.
We never saw the show except
Never
from
saw the
Al's
show.
perspective.
Never saw the
Mhm.
show. Saw the actor that was
Yes.
playing the guy, but we never
Mhm.
saw him as Psycho Dad.
So I
No.
forget, was Psycho Dad the actor, was it someone famous or just some guy?
It ended up just being some guy because they did the two-parter where it's being taken off the air, and Al goes with No Ma'am to go down to Congress to go
to bring it back.
testify before Congress to get it back.
Yes.
Okay.
And Al's testimony prompts the actor to go on and be like, "I'm retiring from the show."
Okay.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's a great episode. Psycho Dad.
Oh, it
yeah.
is.
Thinking about it, there is like a whole subset of shows that is like there's shows about fictional shows.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Mhm.
and the Tool Time on Home Improvement falls kind of into that.
Mm-hmm.
But then you've got, Dick Van Dyke Show, even the Alan
Sure.
Brady Show,
Yeah.
because he was
Yes.
the character that Rob Petrie played was a writer for a
Mhm.
comedy show with other writers. 30 Rock is a show
Mhm.
about a sketch comedy show.
Mm-hmm.
The Muppet Show was a show about a
Yeah. Yes.
was
yes,
a show about
yes.
a show where
Right.
like they're putting on the Muppet Show, but we're watching it plus all the behind the scenes stuff that goes into them making this puppet show with puppets. But
Yes.
yeah, like that's super meta when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're watching a fake behind the scenes show about puppets, putting on a show starring puppets. Yeah.
Right.
Well, to me, that's just like the Larry Sanders Show.
Yeah, Larry Sanders, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's another one.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember like as a kid, like not getting Muppet Show.
Mm.
Really, like not
Aw.
like I didn't get the gag. Because Muppet Babies was like my first love.
Okay.
Right.
And that's where I knew the
okay.
characters from before the Muppets themselves. But I would see that in syndication too,
Mhm.
and I was like just starting to get into Star Wars. And I remember the Mark Hamill episode where he's on as Mark Hamill and as Luke Skywalker. And I was like, what is going on? Like,
Yep.
what is happening here?
Yep.
I'm so confused. All good ones. Wow. Yeah. None of these on my list. Didn't recall
None?
any of these. No, not
Oh,
one.
wow.
Not one.
To me, then there's this stuff. Does SNL count?
SNL count as a
No, I mean,
What do you
that's
mean?
just a
Yeah,
sketch
one.
comedy show.
yeah.
The only
You
thing
mean
that I
like-
can think
like
of that,
Wayne's World?
that's the example.
Right.
That
That's
was
example, I
okay.
think.
Yeah.
I would say no because we
Because-
don't see like there's no universe of SNL where they're sitting around watching Wayne's World.
True.
Okay, no, you're right. You're
True.
right. You're
No, I-
definitely right. Yeah.
That's a good rule of thumb there, Clifton. That makes sense.
Okay. No, I conceded that.
But I do love Wayne's
But
World,
how about-
and the movies are great.
Yeah.
Yes. Another one that came on my purview was Mock Trial with Judge Reinhold on Arrested Development.
Okay.
You remember that?
I've not watched a whole lot of Arrested Development, so I'm actually not familiar with this one.
Okay, well, basically, it's a parody of Judge Judy at the time that it was created.
Okay.
But they basically, the Blues went on that show to use, it was like supposed to be a pilot for a future show, but they used it to run their legal defense against the SEC to see if it worked on that fake show,
Okay.
which makes it even more funnier. But no, yeah, Mock Trial with Judge Reinhold on Justice TV. But no, it's funny because Judge Reinhold being his first name's Judge was a play off that as well.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. But one that I didn't really see because I'm not a huge Seinfeld fan was, didn't he get a show called Jerry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In which didn't they have cast members that were similar to Kramer, George, and Elaine on that show?
Yes.
Yeah. No. It was he was 100% like they were characters on the show he was writing with George.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think if you go back and watch, I think that season, my feeling, I think, is they're experimenting a little bit with serialization a bit. Because I
Okay.
feel like if you watch those episodes, those episodes are pretty strongly like the show will always reference past things here and there, but like that episode, those seasons were like very tightly like we're seeing the progression of the show, and you're seeing meetings through multiple episodes, and like and we're we're in casting, and now we're gonna shoot the pilot, and stuff like that.
Okay,
yeah, fun though. Jeremy Piven is cast as George,
right?
But yeah, no, that's a fun one too. Yeah, I mean, it actually a very strong season. I think that show is very, very funny in those spots. Yeah, again, missed that one. Wow.
These are all your favorite shows.
I know.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I would have thought for sure you would have had these.
Nope, not a one. Honest to goodness. Honest to goodness. Part of me wants to like to just put an end to everybody's curiosity and just say one that was on my list, but I kind of want to keep going until you guys name one that I'm like, no, I thought of that one.
Till we guess one. Oh, yeah. No, I'm surprised you didn't mention one of them. That's what I was like. Yeah, I could do a list of the stuff that you like based upon that topic. Yeah.
So you want me to go? Should I blurt one out?
Sure.
Okay.
Please.
I thought of Darkwing Duck in the 2017 DuckTales, the most recent one that just wrapped up.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because that was an interesting one, because I don't think I think everybody certainly was expecting Darkwing Duck to pop in as a guest star at some point, but I don't think we were expecting it to be a TV show that Launchpad fanatically watched.
Right.
Yeah. No.
Right.
Yeah.
Like a fictional thing in their universe. We expected it to just be a normal piece of their universe. Yeah, they definitely made some weird choices with that one along the way.
That's a very weird choice, I think. And me personally, I think while it did produce some great episodes, I think, when Darkwing does show up and they do play with it, I think all those episodes are very, very strong, but it's like it feels a little like I didn't need this. Like, you didn't need to explain to me in some whacked out way as to like how he exists. I'm perfectly fine thinking, oh, he's in that city over there, and that's what this guy's doing.
Right.
Like, that's all. That's the only explanation I needed, was that it's the next town over,
right? And
I was fine with it.
Yeah.
I didn't need you to get clever with it.
Yeah. No, but I like the fact that that's how we get Negaduck. To me, it was a long way of getting an established villain being the villain.
Right.
If that makes sense. I never felt it was an explanation for Darkwing, but more so along the lines of his nemesis, who used to be Darkwing.
I agree with you there. I think it is a fantastic origin for Negaduck.
Yes.
I think the rest of the Darkwing rogues, which are awesome also, by the way, I say that with not an ounce of irony. I put Darkwing's rogues, you get Batman, you get Superman, Flash, all those guys, but honestly, I think Darkwing would be in my top 10 list of best bad guys. I think so for sure. And it's like the rest of them don't get the same love that way, right? Because they are all characters on a show now. And so it's like, right? You know what I mean? And then there's an episode where you see all of those characters, and it's like just by nature, like they can't get that same love because they're characters.
Yeah,
right?
well, I just saw it as a huge parody from Spider-Man and Batman,
Well, yeah. And I think that's what makes them so strong, is that they are standing on the shoulders of like other great characters in other things,
Mm-hmm.
But so that was like one of the ones that came to me pretty quickly, was I was thinking about that one.
Okay. Well, it reminds me, now that you said that, I didn't think this at all, but based on what you like, it gave me an idea.
Mm.
The Gray Ghost from Batman animated series.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's another one that embarrassingly late I thought of, because I thought of when we were honestly when we were getting ready to record, I jotted this down like a few moments ago, like, Gray Ghost. And Frank, I think you said Gray Ghost as an example last week when I was like, what do you mean when you were saying shows within a show as a topic? And,
and
I still forgot until moments ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. But to me, it was that and Baby Doll. Baby Doll was also
Right.
a show from
I
as
forgot
well.
about that one.
Yeah.
But Grey Ghost was one, like, that was early on in Batman the Animated Series, right? What season was that? Do you happen to remember, Zach or Frank?
That's probably one.
I think so.
Yeah,
Because
feel
season
like it
one
was-
was long. I mean, season one, it was something like, 40 episodes or something that,
Yeah.
if not more.
And like, just I just remember being blown away, like when I was younger and watching the show the first time around, that like all the levels of that one, because it was a lot of stuff that they were doing that again has since become, kind of standard in TV, kind of standard in our stories. But like they brought back Adam West,
right,
to voice a character that's like a proto Batman-ish character, because the premise is that there was this character called Grey Ghost that young Bruce Wayne watched on TV that instilled in him the principles of being a hero, like something to look up to. He saw in this fictional character,
right?
And then the actor in the fictional actor that plays the fictional Grey Ghost is imperiled, and Bruce Wayne, Batman at this point, has to interact with him. And I just remember being like blown away when I realized it was Adam West. I was like, oh, like from the 60s show. Cause again, this was at a time when the 60s show, 66 Batman was definitely not forefront in any comic fan's mind.
Right.
We're right after 89 Batman, where like, it's taboo to even talk about 66 Batman.
Yep.
Like, how dare you talk about this ridiculous thing? And for them to like basically show tribute with love to it at that point in time, and bring back Adam West and give Adam West this awesome character in this show. Like, there's so many levels to it that make it so great. That one.
No, I'm with you. That was like my first experience with like an Easter egg.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also like kind of another fun one, because it's like that one is the plot of that one is the bad guy, who's voiced by Bruce Timm, incidentally,
right,
is mimicking his entire thing off of an episode of The Grey Ghost. So yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I mean, there's so many layers to what it is that they're doing, and honestly, I think that I mean, in the comics, it's always Zorro. Zorro is the movie that the Waynes are coming from when they're killed in Crime Alley.
Right.
It just seems very much like kind of like a rights thing that like we can't do Zorro, so let's think of something else. And then they made this wonderful thing, in 22 minutes.
Right.
But the other example that I spoke about from that series was Baby Doll.
Right.
I like the creepiness of it. You get what would happen to a child actor that never grew up and looked like a kid.
Yeah.
End up becoming psychotic, basically.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That the depth of that is just disturbing, but it felt truthful. But yeah, not in her image, of course, but just the way she manipulated stuff to make her get over on people,
Yeah, I was going to go back to that one because I just saw somebody tweet recently within the past week about the Baby Doll episode. And the premise of the tweet was that they were basically running like whatever was on that Saturday morning before it, or the daytime cartoon before it, and then running the synopsis of that episode. I found the tweeted from someone named Daniel Dockery, and it just says, "Now on Fox Kids, it's Eek the Cat. And after that, a former child star grapples with a physical condition that keeps her from ever growing up and forces her into a state of psychosis that shatters her ability to process reality."
Wow.
And then Bobby's World.
Wow. They sandwiched that between Eek the Cat and Bobby's
They
World?
may very well have. But yeah, I mean, it ran in their normal blocks. So
wow.
it was in amongst those shows at that time, if not specifically, but like shows like those. So
that's a
that made me
large
laugh.
demographic.
Yeah.
There's some Brady Bunch references in there too, like kind of like nods too, because like that was one of the things that canceled Baby Doll was they brought in a cousin character as a new character. That was an obnoxious little brat that nobody liked, and then the ratings fell, and then that's what canceled Baby Doll.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, those are good ones too. I'm gonna stick with Batman really quick too, just because I had more broadly, like not specific shows, but I just had like the news in Batman stuff, because they had like Gotham Insider on there, and it was like when we got like Summer Gleason,
right?
Which I thought was a nice kind of like world building aspect of it too, which is like really kind of like I just found myself stuck on what these shows mean for world building as far as that. But when I hit Gotham Insider, then Dark Knight Returns came to mind, and because there's all those like panels that are cutaways of like, you know, talk shows and the news and like man on the street stuff and everything. And I really, really love how it's just so efficient. He's telling so much story. Like those little panels are doing so much because it's like, it's setting up the world and it's setting up the situation. And but it's also like commenting on political things and social issues. And it's also, you know, and he's flexing like farce muscles, you know, in there, while also like introducing like Dr. Waltham, who is going to be a character that we see, you know, in chapter 3 when the Joker comes back.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like there's so much happening. I just love all of those aspects to that book.
No, it's very deeply thought out. Yeah, no, I didn't even think about it on that level, but you're definitely right.
And I didn't even bring up the David Letterman clone.
Yes.
Yeah, no.
Yes, David Endocrine, right?
Yep, David Endocrine. Yep.
Which when I heard the synopsis for Joker, the Joaquin Phoenix movie, and I heard that like Robert De Niro was playing a host, I'm like, please tell me Robert De Niro is playing David Endocrine. I'm like, please tell me you got. Right. I'm like that. Like I'm a little Easter egged out in general as far as my movies and comics and geek stuff go, but that's one I would have appreciated.
Right.
Sure.
Oh my God, I would have really liked.
Yeah.
And the other big comic of the same time, Watchmen, also has its own story within story, which is Black Freighter.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Right.
That's one I thought of as well.
Yeah.
And that one, you know, we've seen some versions of over the years. I think they did an animated Black Freighter segment to go along with the Zack Snyder Watchmen, right?
Yeah, to go along with the
the 2009-ish.
That's right.
Yeah. And I mean, the comic, I mean, that's presented as a comic within a comic book that, you know, our kid at the newsstand is reading throughout the 12-issue maxi series. And I remember Alan Moore's, some of his thinking at the time was that, like, in a world full of actual superheroes, that superheroes wouldn't be the dominant medium in comic books.
Right.
So that's why he made the like what would have been the popular comic a pirate comic, because they have superheroes, so they wouldn't be as popular in comic books in that world. But as it goes, like, it serves as a, you know, as foreshadowing basically throughout the whole book of what the Black Freighter represents and who the characters in it represent. That, I mean, you don't get the first time, but as you go through, you start to figure it out, like once you get to the end. And again, I mean, kind of like Dark Knight Returns, like, it's just interesting what they were doing with with the stories within stories at that point in comics more than before.
Yeah.
And that definitely becomes a thing that is done over and over and over again once that's done in Watchmen. The idea of a story within a story, as well as like the notes and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
That stuff becomes, you know, part and parcel of comics for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Until now.
What do you mean? What do you mean, Frank?
Oh, just the idea of like there's going to be like for example, the last time I saw it, like recent, granted it's done, you know, it's done in a Watchmen style, but Doomsday Clock had Nathaniel Dusk was like one of the stories that like was a story that was going on about the PI that was a character that was originally in a comic by himself by I think Gene Colan did the art, but I can't remember who wrote it. Can't remember, but it was a character that was basically like in within the world of Doomsday Clock, it was an actual like serialized like PI piece, kind of like you know, like something from Dashiell Hammett, you know, one of those. It's one of those type of PIs.
It's like a hard-boiled detective story inside a superhero comic book.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. That they're experiencing or watching.
Right, but that was but also tied into the plot. So it was one of those things where,
right. I remember now, like, just as you guys were thinking, as you were talking about this, like the challengers of the unknown and New Frontier kind of is I mean, like those are actually the adventures they're going on, but their chapter, not their whole chapter actually, because their origin you're seeing happening like before your eyes, but once they're formed as a team, you're seeing the adventures they go on like presented as newsreels that people are watching in the movie theaters. And I actually like like just one of the many things that impresses me about that book is also like how he's able to like to make his drawings appear to feel like they're a black and white newsreel from like 1957.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one too. I didn't think about that one.
Going back to animation, I'm surprised no one mentioned the Rusty Venture show.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
From Venture Brothers, because that's his whole background, being on a fake show. But it had real exploits based upon what they went through. It was to me, it was always weird. 'Cause I didn't know if what they filmed was fake or real based upon how he grew up.
Right.
Because they never divided the two. But when Billy Quizboy always mentioned Rusty Venture being a young adventure that he watched grow up, I was like, in my head, was it real or was it shot to depict what he did? I never understood if he was a actor or his exploits were just filmed for people to see.
Like that's an aspect of the show that honestly I forget about all the time until they remind me of that.
Okay.
Like I just remember like you know, he always just comes off to me as just sort of like a scientist that had his heyday and now is this.
Right.
And I forget that he was like a child adventurer like his kids are.
Yes.
You know, now
except they don't have a camera.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's Young Justice.
Fire away. What do you mean?
Hello, Megan.
Of course. Okay.
Yeah. She makes her whole personality based upon an old show that her peers would barely remember. But as a result of it, it's a show that Beast Boy's family was involved with.
Yeah.
Yeah, that she caught old, reruns, and that's what she made her old image into.
It's apparently a very popular show on Mars.
Yeah.
They would get the broadcasts eventually from Earth.
Yeah.
What was interesting about it, though, too, is that, like, you don't know it's a show. You don't know that she's referencing a show.
Right.
For 18 episodes, whatever it is, when you're like,
good way into season 1.
Yeah. And then for that to be sort of like the linchpin for like, you know, a major, you know, well-known DC heroes origin. You know, I mean, like, I mean, the connective tissue that Hello Megan has in the Young Justice universe to just the DC universe at large is huge.
Yeah, you just think it's a weird catchphrase she's trying to push for the first half of season 1. She's really into that catchphrase.
Yeah. Well, to be that it's a through line to the Doom Patrol is insane.
Right. Because I was going to bring up, so like, I mean, the first one you're talking about, Hello Megan, it's the fictional like 50s-ish, 60s-ish sitcom that Miss Martian bases her whole fake humanoid identity on.
Right.
But they did it again later in the previous season, which was Doom Patrol Go.
Yeah.
Where they again took like the through line with Beast Boy and with Rita Farr, who is Elastigirl in DC Universe Doom Patrol, who was supposed to be a supporting character on that fictional Hello Megan show, and gave us like, I don't even know what this was, like hallucination show within a show, kind of, but
like a fever dream hallucination. Yeah.
So not strictly a show within a show, but a parody of the Teen Titans show, Teen Titans Go show. So it's definitely like a show within a show, but
yeah. And I like just sort of like the production story behind this a little bit, because I've seen Greg Weisman either tweet about it or talk about it on his website, where he's like, one, they like to introduce like some kind of song every season. Right. So like the Hello Megan theme song was the one for season 1 and everything, but he's like, we needed a song for season 3. So that's when we did the Doom Patrol song. Right. But he was like, but he also said that in that period where Young Justice was canceled after season 2 and season 3 didn't come out, like he was really like, the Teen Titans Go guys, because they had like the Young Justice characters like would pop up for jokes and you know, as like guest spots, air quote guest spots for things. He was like, those guys like really helped like kind of keep like Young Justice in people's memories. And like, you know, when we were still trying to get like it to come back in some way. And so he was like, when we came back for season 3, they wanted to just sort of like kind of like homage and kind of say thank you in a way to those guys, and for it to just sort of like, again, like it makes sense. There was a plot reasoning for it, right? There's a character reasoning for it with Beast Boy, and like it all fit, like it all fit, like it all fit so wonderfully well together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, which makes me think of the other Greg Weisman show from the Gargoyles, The Pack.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Yeah. Which is another way he used a TV show to emphasize a larger, this time supervillains. They were fake on the show, but real life they're like a supervillain team that robbed banks and all this stuff.
Right.
That's things. Yeah.
It'd be like if the A-Team was actually in real life driving around in a van.
In a van.
Like Mr. T and George Papard.
Right.
Just roll up in a van with a black van with a red stripe. And you're like, what are you doing here? Yeah, that's like what the Pack was like. They were doing their real gimmick in real life.
In real life.
But I did think of another cartoon and another show I know Zach was into. So we'll see if he thought of this one. 2012 Nickelodeon Ninja Turtles did it every season with a different fictional show.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Yes.
No, I didn't remember any of these, but they're awesome. They're all awesome.
Because the first one was their fake version of Star Trek the Animated Series, right? Was that the first one?
Yes. Mm-hmm. That was the first one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then second was their fake Thundar.
Yes.
Was that?
Yes, I remember.
Yeah. Okay,
Did they have a fake Thundar the Barbarian one? I couldn't remember.
They did.
Yeah.
No, they did.
And the other was a fake Voltron.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones I remember. I just remember that they always used them as the mechanic to kind of like go along with what the main actual story of the show was. That we'd get those little things to like kind of tell parallel versions of it.
Yeah, it'd always be Leonardo watching the show.
Yeah.
No, they were fun. It was fun to see also the animation style change because they would do like 2D animation for it.
Right.
Man, those guys were so good. I mean, just like as far as like the different kind of things that show would do. Because I'm thinking also just as far as like the 2D stuff, it's not another show. But when they did essentially like the 80s Ninja Turtle cartoon characters pop up and they do sort of like a Turtles Forever like crossover
right
with those characters, and I just liked it to see how you would see the 80s characters in CG in some periods, and then you would see the 2012 Turtles hand drawn. And like, it all looked so great. Those guys were so awesome.
But now I'm curious to see what's on Zach's list, but don't say anything. What was Little Butler on your list, Zach?
Little Butler? No.
Yeah, from Steven Universe. Little Butler was a parody show that mocked Webster and what was the other show?
Mr. Belvedere.
Mr. Belvedere.
Yeah, Mr. Belvedere at the same time, in which he just rolls to it's funny. It even have a theme song, and there's an episode in which Amethyst and Greg like are habitually watching are doing a back-to-back episode watch of this fake show called Little Butler. It is so funny how the show is depicted, but that's what they mock at the same time.
That's great.
Little Butler. Yeah.
There's a lot.
That's not on your list, Zach?
No, it's not on my list, but there's a lot in Steven Universe too, because we got Dogcopter.
Right.
Yes.
The movie, the Dogcopter movies, which is apparently based on a book series.
Yes.
Because when he's watching the movie, he goes like, was this in the books?
Yes. Not on your list?
And what's like the Japanese like anime that he's into? The samurai show.
Yeah,
like
I have to look that up. Hold on. Yeah. I definitely have to look that up. But I know what you're talking about. Oh man. But yeah, Steven Universe is filled with it too.
Yeah.
But that didn't make your list as well?
No, it didn't. It really
okay. All right, I'm gonna go all out. There's a big one I think would be on your list.
Okay.
And that's Itchy and Scratchy.
Of course.
Yes. Of course.
Because yes.
So we've now entered the Simpsons portion of the show. Yes. Itchy and Scratchy was the idea that like stuck with me. Like when Frank, you pitched the idea, Itchy and Scratchy was the first one, and I'm like, oh, okay. Yep. That's the one.
Sure.
That's the one. Yeah.
Of course.
And again, also like I love what it does for the show. There's something fun about this thing that all the kids all love.
Right.
Right. And it does feel very much like our own childhood.
Somewhere, yeah.
You know, that there was this thing that we were all nuts about.
Right.
Like every kid that we knew, we were all nuts about. Yeah, I love that. But I also like that it, you know, it's used as a jumping off point for plots also.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some great episodes. Itchy and Scratchy movie.
Right.
Is you know, one of my favorite episodes ever. You know, when Bart's grounded and he's not allowed to see it because Homer's finally gonna, like, you know, putting his foot down and going to, you know, put boundaries.
Yep.
Right.
I can relate. Yeah. I can relate to that one. Sure.
Right.
You know, I knew that one.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. And Frank, we quote it just about every time there's some kind of jerk or you know,
oh, of course,
on something that we're watching where it's, you know, like, which one is the mouse? Itchy. Itchy's a jerk.
Itchy's a jerk. Oh yeah, for years. Yeah. Oh my God, for years.
Yeah.
Yep. No, that's a good one. That was a
fun too from a production angle again too, because I don't even remember where I saw this, but I was watching some kind of behind the scenes on The Simpsons, and this was the first time I had seen like Foley artists.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I'm gonna try and explain what Foley artists are. Clifton, I might need a spot on this one. They're essentially the sound designers, right? That put in the sound effects,
right?
For all the stuff that you're watching, and so they're in like a giant like studio, yeah, where the episode or movie that they're doing sound effects for is playing on the screen, and they're out there with like actual props, like making the noise in front of microphones. So they're like, if they're in a field, they have like a patch of sod like in the studio that they put shoes on, and then they're walking on there to do all the footsteps, and stuff like that.
Like in the olden days at radio, they'd be like clopping the coconuts to make the horses galloping.
Yeah. And so they were talking about The Simpsons. The Foley artists were talking about doing The Simpsons, and they were saying how like Itchy and Scratchy is the only time that they actually do like cartoon soundy sound effects.
Right.
Because they're like, because the whole thing for The Simpsons is they want you to kind of forget you're watching a cartoon. Right. But it's like, but they're okay with it there. Like that's when they'll pull out like the zany, like kind of like Looney Tunes-y sounding stuff.
Right. Gotcha. Like a slide whistle. And
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so that always stuck with me. But Simpsons has a few too, because Itchy and Scratchy is on the Krusty the Clown show.
Yes. Right. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Which is also well loved and always looked like a terrible show to me. Right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like a grungy Bozo the Clown.
Yes.
It reminded me so much of when Nintendo had the animated series when they would do Super Mario Brothers Monday through Thursday, and then Legend of Zelda was on Fridays.
Right.
It always reminded me of the Captain Lou Albano like live action Mario stuff, which like I hated sitting through. I'm like, just give me the cartoon, like just make the whole thing a cartoon.
Oh, poor Lou, poor Captain Lou.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Oh, awesome.
I also have Radioactive Man.
Yeah.
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 Right. Who's a comic book.
Right.
But also in one of my favorite all-time episodes too, the one where they're making the Radioactive Man movie.
That's a good one. Oh, that's a good one.
And then you find that in Simpsons canon, there was also a Radioactive Man 60s television show.
Okay.
And another one where I love the designs in that, where like they designed the character to look like the costume looked like an Adam Westy Batman,
right?
Just with Radioactive Man. And I mean, if you watch that episode, because it was around, you know, it's not too far from Grey Ghost. I mean, that is like 100% what people thought of Batman 66 at the time, because it's a joke. It is used as it's a punchline in that. So yeah.
And that Radioactive Man became an actual comic book though, right?
Yes.
Like didn't Bongo Comics run Radioactive Man for a long time in our real world? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that one broke out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And then maybe not as fondly remembered, or maybe not as regularly remembered, but I also put McBain on my list.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah, of course.
Was that on your guys' list? Did anybody have McBain?
I didn't think about it, but now that you mentioned, I'm like, oh, absolutely. It should be.
I didn't definitely have McBain.
So McBain was like the action series that was a spoof on Schwarzenegger movie. So Rainier Wolfcastle,
oh, that's right,
who was Springfield's Arnold Schwarzenegger, was the star of McBain. And I remember there was one clip in there that's like, it's like from McBain 4 or whatever. And it's like so they're watching a clip of the movie, and it's McBain at a diner like counter with his partner, and his partner's talking about retirement. And he's like, yeah, partner, got my boat finally. He's like, getting ready to take my little lady out to Paris. She's been wanting to go for years. And he's like, Paris is very nice this time of year, right? Know, I'm really going to miss you, partner. And then a guy like kicks open the door and just like, just like 2 Uzis and just guns the whole room down.
Yep.
Right. And of course, McBain's fine, but like his partner's in a bloody heap there on the floor. And he's just like, damn.
Right. Yep.
I love that gag.
I remember someone saying there's a clip of all those like shorts, and they made it into a movie, the McBain movie. It might be floating somewhere on YouTube, where they took all those little McBain clips, put them all together, and it's like one long McBain movie or something. It's weird,
always Mendoza, right? Like Mendoza.
Yeah, Mendoza.
He's always the bad guy. He's yelling.
Yes.
Well, I've got one that speaking of like Fox Sunday Night in the animation.
Okay.
This one was like when I started thinking about episodes or shows within shows, I'm like, this is the one that I thought for sure. And it's Las Días y las Noches de Monsignor Martinez from King of the Hill.
Okay.
Like it's basically the novella that Peggy and Hank and Bobby watch. Is Monsignor Martinez.
Nice. Right.
Where his catchphrase, like he's a Catholic, Spanish Catholic priest, right? But it's a play on action movies, because it's always him, fighting guys and gunning guys down. It's always his catchphrase is "Vaya con Dios," and it was in a lot of episodes. And I think there's even like the actor who plays him actually crosses over sort of with like there's an episode where he needs Peggy's help for some reason. And it plays off the idea that Peggy's a Spanish teacher who really doesn't know Spanish. So I always loved that one, the Monsignor Martinez. I thought that for being, especially because again, I've told stories before about living in South Texas and how much like you would get those, especially in those days when it wasn't like, before satellite or internet cable, you would get those UHF channels where you would get is Spanish programming. So it made perfect sense to me that the people of Ireland would watch this show.
Right.
Yeah, I had a completely different experience with those shows growing up because my mom and my grandma and my aunt like legit loved them.
Oh, sure.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, like they recorded them.
But they were they were fluent Spanish speakers, so they weren't just watching the pictures.
No, loved them. Loved their novellas. Like,
right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I have that now, so it's one of those things where, I see lots of Spanish and Portuguese novellas.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I can't. Yeah. So.
Huge business.
Oh, yeah. There's
huge.
Tons. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Completely.
I forgot too, really quick, going back to Simpsons, just like all the Troy McClure stuff.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up before you moved on. I remember me from and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Christmas Ape. And Christmas Ape goes to summer camp.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. As well as the Planet of the Apes musical.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Zaius.
Yeah. Chimpanzee. A to chimpanzee. Yep. I love you, Dr. Zaius.
No, I was wrong. It was Earth all along.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Great stuff.
Brings to mind the other Matt Groening stuff he did with Futurama.
Yeah.
One that's All My Circuits.
Right.
Where Bender's like the jerk on the fake soap opera with Calculon. And then there's the other one with the whole episode. Our engineer brought it up in length. because it's a funny episode. I just can't think of the name of it. Where the show about it parodies Ally McBeal,
Oh,
in
it's
which they never get the.
that one I love. It was like unmarried something lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In which they have to act out this fake show and give them a proper ending so they don't get killed
right.
for not finishing the series that ended like 100 years ago.
Right. During Fry's time, there was the show that was basically based on Ally McBeal, which was the unmarried something lawyer. And it was basically, since the signals went out in space, this one alien race was totally into the show, but they didn't get a proper ending because the show ended.
Single female lawyer.
There it is.
Engineer just put it up. Yeah. Yeah.
So they need, in order to not destroy the Earth, they have to figure out a way to come up with an ending for it.
Yes. So funny.
Yes, which is a great one. So
Also, it's a beautiful one. Then what's the other one that for me, I kind of stopped watching the show. It was Terrence and Phillips show from South Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, which basically it's making fun of all types of stuff. Potty humor jokes, straight up. Canadian humor. It just goes all in. That was one of from cartoons. But the one I really want to bring up was Ember Island Players on The Last Airbender. Yeah. I know, Zach, you're not fond of that episode, but it just captures it does a huge synopsis of the series, makes fun of it, and shows you a possibility of what propaganda and how it works against it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just like it. To me, it worked on so many different levels in which it's basically a recap show without being a recap show.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely remember that.
That's a great episode.
It's a great episode.
Yes.
Yeah, it's an episode.
That is great,
mind, man. Yeah. Yeah, I feel it's a great episode.
Yes, it is an episode that is great.
We have had hours of discussion on this episode alone, which we're not going to touch upon here. Because, man, we could beat a dead horse to death with this stuff. But yeah, no, but it's a good pick. It is definitely a good pick.
I'm surprised Frank didn't bring up Inspector Spacetime.
I thought about Inspector Spacetime. I am not a huge fan of that aspect of Community.
Okay.
That's why I didn't bring it up.
Exists.
Oh, it exists. Yeah. It absolutely exists. It's a Dr. Hugh pastiche or parody that Abed loves, that he gets into.
Oh, yeah.
Which it's one of those, I get it. I was never a big Doctor Who guy to begin with. Maybe that's why I didn't think much of it.
No,
but
I can see that.
Yeah, it's not my favorite part of Community. Okay. I mean, they do a lot of cool stuff with it, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, you could have just done Doctor Who. And not, I mean, because there's that, and what's the show do you remember the name of the show that Abed's into that's Game of Thrones, basically?
No, but I remember he was into that other show that gave us the title 6 seasons in the movie. The Cape.
The Cape.
I was going to say, like wasn't the Cape, but then I was like, wait, the Cape was a real show.
But the Cape was a real show.
Yeah.
Right?
But without spoiling anything, because this is actually one of the best things about Abed's stuff in Community is the whole thing with Cougar Town. That's amazing. All that stuff is awesome. That stuff is terrific. I love all that. That part of his character, I think, is so good. But Inspector Spacetime, I thought was all right.
The Courtney Cox show? Cougar Town?
Yeah, Cougar Town. Okay. Oh, yeah. He goes into a whole thing about it. Yeah. It was just funny because it leads to, because what makes that even funnier is it's part of he describes the real show in which they parody a real movie using that. My Dinner with Andre is used. Well, basically, it's the base of the episode that they use him going to Cougar Town, or at least going to the set of Cougar Town. Yeah.
I think they're fans of each other. Who's the Community guy? I'm blanking on the guy's name.
Dan Harmon.
I think Dan Harmon and Bill Lawrence, who was the creator of Cougar Town and Ted Lasso, showrunner now. I think they're fans of each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is the sense I have. Yeah.
Okay. No, it was a nice send up to him then.
Yeah. If they're not friends themselves, I don't like that. I don't know, but
But Frank, can I guess another one from yours on your list?
Sure, go ahead.
Interdimensional Cable, Rick and Morty.
Oh, I mean, I thought about it. Yeah, there's some good ones in that.
Yeah. It's just there's a whole litany of stuff like what, ants on your eyes. That one.
Yeah, that was
What else?
good. Ball fondlers.
Yeah. Hey, that's good too.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, yeah.
Brothers who are brothers but not brothers. That one.
Yes, that one's good too. But Zach, if you haven't seen this already, it's basically an episode in which they parody TV from different dimensions.
No,
in which
I remember that.
Okay.
That was in
Okay.
our watch challenge.
Yes. I'm sorry. Yeah, we did do a watch episode.
Yeah.
I forgot that was part of the list. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was Rick and Morty and what, Cowboy Bebop?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was our watch. That
funny you
was
should
our
say-
watch challenge episode. Yeah. From a ways back. Yeah.
But before we get into the description of it, it's funny that you mentioned Cowboy Bebop because that's on my list too.
Oh, okay.
Remember Big Shot?
Interesting. All right, let's do Rick and Morty first, and then we'll jump to the Cowboy Bebop one. So what's the Rick? Give me the synopsis for the Rick and Morty one.
The Rick and Morty episode basically boils down to this. Rick has a device that allows people to see, or allows his family to see, other dimensional TV as a way to not get bored or whatever. But it's what, a montage of different ideas just thrown together, one after the other, after the other. And he does it, and they do it twice. Well, to me, what makes it funny is the other examples of different shows that are so absurd, but seen in different, like what I said, with ants on the eyes.
Innocent Eyes Johnson.
Frank, is that a great description of it? Or?
Yeah, like for sure. It's one of those. You get to see, like you said, the Innocent Eyes. It's one of those things where you can tell it's a situation where they're just in a booth riffing on stuff, and then they animated it. So like Innocent Eyes Johnson, one's the guy that the Doors commercial. Remember the guy that sells doors, and then he gets done with the commercial and gets in his car.
Oh yeah, real fake Doors salesman.
Right, and he gets in his car and goes home, and they're like, "Is this part of the commercial? Are we following him home? I don't understand this at all." But yeah, you've got that. You've got what's the other ones? You've got like Ball Fondlers, which is funny, which is like an A-team type group. There's the big movie, which is like I said, the brothers who aren't brothers. And they're fighting. It gets these things just get bigger and bigger. The scene, like they're fighting dinosaurs and they're fighting aliens. What's another one? Oh, the Strawberry Squiggles, which is the commercial within the show for a product,
the Lucky Charms one,
which is basically Lucky Charms, which is both funny and disturbing. So I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, Interdimensional Cable I enjoyed quite a bit. I think that's a fun one. I like the idea of it a lot. I think the idea that being able to see what's going on or what TV shows, and then the idea that for the bigger part of the episodes that you can see like what Jerry's life might have been different, how it might have been different within this another dimension. So it's a good one.
Yeah, it's a fun episode. It is. You're right, Frank. It just screams so much of just like I have a gag idea for a fake movie, and it's just it's just a destination for all of those ideas.
Well, I mean, one part when they're doing the voiceover for one of them, someone breaks character and starts laughing because it's so absurd. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
And then Tommy, what was the Cowboy Bebop one that you were saying that was sparked by bringing up the old episode, the old watch challenge we did?
If you remember, Big Shots is that that show in the beginning, like there's a black guy and a blonde in which they try and show them bounties that they can capture, and it's like a presentation show when they look to see more bounties.
Right. Yeah.
That's the one I was thinking about from Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, it's kind of game showy. Also, it felt like yeah, that's a fun one. You don't see a whole lot. It's just basically just all exposition, right? Like here's the guy's rap sheet, basically that they're going after. Yeah, but it's a fun creative way to do it.
Mm-hmm. Do we have any word if they're doing it in the Netflix show? Are we going to see that in the Netflix show coming up? I would hope so.
It looks like it because I watched some of the trailers and everything. It looks like it certainly looks like that from a shot that I think that's what they're doing.
Okay,
for it.
I haven't seen anything from it yet. I
have one more on my list that I thought of was Smash Adams was the James Bond spoof in Doug, the James Bond movies, which Which
you love Doug.
This may be also like one of the things that got me into James Bond also that I didn't think about before, but it's like, yeah, I really love all the Smash Adams segments and bits from all the Doug episodes, and it may be the best James Bond theme spoof I've ever heard. And we'll put it up if I can find it, but I've been looking for a good copy of this for years.
Okay.
And then there's one more from Doug that's also, I mean, doesn't get anywhere near the focus, but there's a comic he loves called Man of Steel Man. That's just fun.
Okay. Yeah. The last one I have, this one's only for me, solely for me. Okay. No one else will have any clue what this is. And it is a show called West Drive that is a fictional show in the world of Degrassi. So as long as Degrassi's been on, they've been talking about a show that they watch called West Drive that is basically Degrassi. It's a show that films in Toronto. So every once in a while, their classmates are actors on the show West Drive.
Oh, wow.
or they want to be actors on West Drive. But they also all complain about West Drive of being, it's too like topic of the week or it's too preachy. So it's just their way to make fun of their own show. And they've been doing it the whole time. And it's great. Okay. I love that one.
That's hilarious. That sounds funny.
Yeah.
That sounds fun. You guys have any more?
I have one, but it was more along the lines of something similar to Clifton's, in which it's something that I watch. I'm not sure how up to date you guys are with Insecure, but every season they did a parody of a show, but I'm trying to look within my notes to see what it was, because basically, like, one season was a parody show with Martin, and they had certain cast members from Martin, and another show, it was a parody of, I want to say Ayana Fix My Life, but I just got to look through my notes. But while I'm looking through my notes, I was thinking, How I Met Your Mother? When Barney finds out that Robin was on the show with Alan Thicke.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think the show was called Space Teens or whatever.
When she's Robin Sparkles?
Yes, they beat that Robin Sparkles thing to death.
They did.
Yeah.
Yes. They did. The gag there for people who haven't watched How I Met Your Mother is Robin, one of the main characters, is revealed at one point to have been a Canadian pop star.
Yeah. She was like a teenage mall diva.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
In the 1990s, but all the clips you see look straight like Tiffany stuff from the 80s and everything like that and everything. And the gag is that we're in Canada. We didn't get the 80s until the 1990s.
Right. Yep. Yes, she had a hit single called "Let's Go to the Mall Today."
Right.
Yes. And it's great. It's great for a while, but they do definitely,
they do
just chop it to. Oh God,
they get every ounce of juice out of that lemon. Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
And there's one that I never knew existed because I was too young to know about. This show called 20 Questions. 20 Questions was on different cartoons. You remember that?
No.
No. Okay. G.I. Joe had a host called Hector Ramirez.
Okay.
In which he would like interview Joes or transform. It was on Transformers. It was a parody like of Geraldo Rivera.
It sounds familiar, but yeah, I can't remember.
Oh God, it was something that I vaguely remember. But in those shows, Transformers, G.I. Joes, Inhumanoids, and Jem and the Holograms, there was a host named Hector Ramirez who acted like a talk show host, and then he was hyping up controversies or digging up dirt on the heroes and then playing down the facts. It was like, I'm trying to think of the episodes that involved it, but the only one that stuck really with me was the one from G.I. Joe.
No, I have no memory of this at all.
Never mind.
But you set me up perfectly because I did recall another one from The Simpsons, one of my favorite ones, and then we'll start closing out, but was Gentle Ben from The Simpsons. And it's one joke, but basically Gentle Ben is a bear.
Yep.
With a helmet that has a microphone taped to it. That, it's basically like Oprah and Geraldo and Donahue and stuff like that. And it's just an awesome gag of, the bear finding the craft table. And So we'll post the clip up for that too. And then Tommy, the one from Steven Universe that we couldn't think of, I finally found. It's Lonely Blade.
Lonely Blade.
Lonely Blade was like the Zatoichi like samurai like movie that he was into.
Okay.
So, finally I can go to sleep now. That was gonna keep me up.
Oh wow.
All right. So we're gonna start closing out, and we're all gonna go around and say which one of these shows within a show or comic within a comic, whatever, do we wish is an actual show for us to watch? But first, if you like the show, you can check out all of our episodes on YouTube and letmeknowhowitis.com. Just please, however you find us, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us a review. And finally, you can send us all your topic ideas to us on Twitter or in the comments. Our Twitter handles are show's initials, LMKHII. All right, let's go around. Which one do we wish was an actual thing to consume?
I'll go first. I'll just say I wish they had a show called Psycho Dad from Married with Children. That's it. I just want to see that fleshed out because I think that'd make an awesome sitcom and it'd be funny as hell just to see it played out now. And I mean, it could be Dexter themed if you want to make it that extreme, or just a comedic tone, whatever the case may be. But the fact that we never get a actual actor or family within that role would make it great ripe for the premise for a real show. I mean, hell, it could have been a Breaking Bad show. It could have been Breaking Bad for all I know.
All right, one vote for Psycho Dad. Nice, surprising pick, but cool. I'm in. Clifton, what's yours?
So I'm going with one. It's not something that's come up yet this episode, and it's from the 1993 film Matinee by Joe Dante. Again, I'm possibly the only person who's ever seen this movie. I'm not sure because I never see people talk about it. But in my younger days, it was one that I watched a ton. And the premise of it was that it's set during the Cuban Missile Crisis, and John Goodman plays like this kind of showman who's running around the country with his new movie gimmick. And like back when you had 3D and smell-o-vision and all these things, and he's created like some new form of interactive cinema that he's spreading in the 60s. But in it, there's a film called Mant that we see pieces of throughout the movie. And it is like a 1950s, early 60s, like B-grade sci-fi horror movie that's basically influenced by The Fly. So it's about a man who gets exposed to radiation and starts turning into a human-sized ant, like part man, part ant. So it's called Mant. And like the segments we see in the movie when they're showing it in the theaters is hilarious. And I would watch the whole movie just of Mant, made by Joe Dante and whoever was involved in making that one. That's what I would watch. The whole thing just of that. And Matinee is excellent. It's currently on Stars. If anybody has Stars, you can go watch Matinee. But it is a great, fun, young adult movie from 1993.
I love the Mant title. That's awesome. Frank, what's yours?
I'm going to go with Monsignor Martinez. I'd watch that. I get a lot of novellas in my life now. So I'd watch. There supposedly was a pilot shot for a live action version of the show that was going to be on Fox, or that Mike Judge was shopping around, but it didn't get made. Like the actual pilot. Yeah. So the series didn't get made, but I'd watch the series. Apparently, according to King of the Hill Wiki, it says long considered lost. A VH copy of it was discovered by a private collector in 2020, but has yet been made publicly available due to legal concerns. So fingers crossed I'll get to see the pilot someday.
Yeah, how's that not on YouTube? My goodness.
Right?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yep.
That's like the Gen 13 movie.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I am going to go with either McBain or Radioactive Man. I would like to see as movies that are, I just think they would be fun to do right now, animate them, but make them basically commenting on the genre that they're like aping, So yeah, give me a self-aware comic book movie that's commenting on comic book movies.
Okay.
I'm all in. I'd love that. I would love to see that. So yeah. All right, so that's it. That's shows within the show. For us, as always, we'll post links and examples to everything we talk about on letmeknowhowitis.com. Just please remember to like us and follow us on social media, and we will see you guys next week. Thanks for listening.